Okay, so what I did was I separated out the ones that look relatively good. Now, I hydrogen peroxide all of them, regardless. But these look pretty good, but I put it on a dry paper towel. I'm going to let them dry out overnight and see what happens. And then give them, I mean, there's a little bit of water here because it dripped off of them. These were going to be tossed, but I'll see if they revive overnight. And I don't know, maybe the blacks. I mean, you can see I'm getting leaves, so I mean, I hate to toss them, and then these were the ones that were really the worst. But you'll notice I've definitely had germination of the seeds. And like I said, I still can't remember if these were the American seed from the dollar store or if they're the Fairy Morse. But let's face it, I mean, shoot, I could take popcorn and, use that even probably. But, and this is the sweet corn. It's the early sweet corn that you get. Generally, I'm pretty sure this one's grown a lot in Georgia, but they've got a better loamy soil. They've got a lot more clay than what we have down here in Florida. So anyway, I'm going to keep an eye on these and get them in the ground as soon as possible. And I could go out there. I mean, the ground's almost ready for them, but I've been going slow because I can only go out there when those stupid people next door, the smokers, aren't out there smoking their lungs away. I mean, they're still closing themselves in their little tent and just sucking it all in just as fast as they can go. They're just one right after the other. I'll tell you, I don't know, maybe they're in a study for what definitely not to do with your life. I don't know, but it's the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life, and I'm trying to keep my mouth shut until I get a fence up. And then I'm probably going to put a fan over there. I mean, I told them I was going to. It's not my fault if, I'm talking about their disgusting, filthy lungs and it happens to drift over into their yard. I mean, if I have to deal with their smoke drifting into my yard, then they can deal with my foul mouth drifting over into theirs. But, that's got drawbacks too if I go to court. So, which I'd rather just put the freaking fence up and forget about it. I mean, they're just, what can you do? I mean, I could have had, it's just a shame that the people next door rented to smokers. I mean, they were an old couple, and he's actually passed away, and she's up in New York, and I called her and told her that, she won't let them smoke in the house. Well, I told her, fine, you don't want them to smoke in your house? Well, I don't want the smoke in my lungs. You don't want them in your inanimate walls. I don't want them in my live lungs. So I told her to mull it over, and so she mulled it over and called her whoever rented the place to them. She has a realtor, I guess, down here, and I told him, don't ever call me on the phone again. I have no interest in talking to you whatsoever. I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and if you can't compromise, I mean, forget about it. If she needs to let them smoke in her stupid house, I shouldn't have to inhale their crappy smoke. But anyway, I guess I'm going off on a tangent. But anyway, we'll keep an eye on the seeds and see what happens. And if you're out there smoking, stop it right now. It's bad for you. It destroys your lungs. And as you get older, you start having to have surgery. I mean, the first thing I've got to do before I go into surgery is have a chest x-ray. And I'll tell you right now, I was exposed to secondhand smoke my entire life. But, well, not my entire life, when I was a kid. Probably up till I was about 16. But because my mother and father were both chain smokers. In fact, my father was on a submarine down in the boiler room pumping coal into the engines down there, and he probably had a cigarette hanging out of his mouth while he was doing that. But they both died from their lungs giving out on them. My father had a far nastier death than my mother did. She went much faster. But at 53, so my father was 63, so 10 years apart. But anyway, whatever. Have a nice night. Bye.